Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 23 Driver Career Mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. We are headed to the French Grand Prix. It has returned as Aston Martin brings big upgrades to their car this weekend and tightens the gap between themselves and the rest of the teams ahead of Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, Ford, as well as McLaren. The first time ever in this career mode that we actually have the French Grand Prix. It took 4 seasons to make it happen, but we are here at Circuit Paul Ricard, so we'll see what happens here today. This used to be, in previous games, one of my least favorite tracks to visit. Actually, no, it was the least. It was kind of like the Las Vegas circuit is nowadays for me. I just hated racing here, and I find that if I hate racing on the circuit, I also don't do good on the circuit. So I was coming into this one though with a fresh mindset because it has been a long time since I've actually driven around here. So this is my first laps around this circuit since F1 22 at some point, and overall it wasn't too bad. I was actually pretty happy and confident, most specifically, and most, confidence boostingly to be confident in the car in this pace at least that we have here in this French Grand Prix circuit. Now, there's so many different layouts you can take here in Paul Ricard, but obviously sticking to the one that we're supposed to as we come through the final turn here in practice. And the time deltas were looking good all throughout the practice programs, and I was pretty confident going into this weekend. Now, what makes me most confident, it's supposed to rain. And we've seen a lot of rain recently here in this career mode, and we know that rain is just our opportunity to take over, especially heavy rain. Now, when it's intermediate conditions, we got speed, but, when it's really wet and we have to throw on the wet tire, we are absolutely flying. So we always hope the rain's going to be as heavy as possible. As we roll into qualifying, it's going to be a dry, sunny day here on Saturday, however, now, so it's all about what can we do in these dry conditions now in the Grand Prix. So it's going to start dry from the looks of it, go into wet, then get dry again. But we go P10 in Q1, a pretty straightforward lap to just get us through into the next session here. Ocon, Drugovich, Iwasa, Butler, and Hughes all out in Q number 1. Actually, Butler got a 5-place grid penalty as well for illegal blocking there, so he will go from, 19th to 20th on the grid. In Q2 now, pretty straightforward again, just gotta put in a decent lap, don't need to do anything special. We cross the stripe and we go P10. Now, actually ran a second lap because I wasn't confident in it. We would stay P10 as everybody finished their lap, but I still wanted to commit because I knew there was more time in it, specifically in Sector 3. We actually set a purple Sector 1, but we actually go to P3 on the board at the end of Q2, which is really good to see, only 0.2 of a second off. As you can see, Pourchaire, Lawson, Gasly, Zhou Guanyu, Calimere all out in the second qualifying session, leading us into Q number 3 here. Now from circuit to Paul Ricard, now through turn 1 and 2, missed the apex in turn 1 just a little bit there, not using a whole lot of curb now, as it was a bit of a scrappy lap on this opening one, and I saved enough time to give myself 2 laps if needed here in Q3, as I always make sure to leave enough time to do 2 laps, unless it's Q1, you just gotta basically, in this car of its caliber, just gotta not screw up the lap miserably and you will advance. But coming through the final sector, down into the final turn, hitting the apex okay, getting a decent exit, could have been a little bit better with the angle, but we're gonna get that TYRES open and head to the line. What is it going to be? It's only going to be P9, so yeah, we have to try a second lap here. Now, that was quite a ways off of what I was expecting based off our Q2 performance, and we found a bit more pace, but we end up losing a bit, and we're going to throw it all away right here as I'm going to go for a spin. So that ends our qualifying. We're going to be starting down the grid in P9, unfortunately. On pole, it's actually going to be Charles Leclerc over Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz, Jackson Verstappen, the top 5, Tsunoda, Piastri, Russell, myself, and Norris, the rest of the top 10. Let's get ready to roll on Sunday. It's going to be an interesting one in France.
Hello and welcome from the Circuit Paul Ricard, current home of the French Grand Prix, an event dating all the way back to 1906. Now, it's been held at many venues over the years, with famous moments from Dijon and Manicourt, the feature of many a highlights reel. So let's hope we see more of those in the race today. 6 lefts and 9 rights give us a total of 15 corners here at the Circuit Paul Ricard, and a lap covers an overall distance of 3.6 miles. Average speeds will be somewhere in the region of 142 miles per hour, and they'll be maxing out on the Mistral straight at around 205 miles per hour. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, just edging out Alex Albon, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Jackson, Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Golden Boy, Norris, Théo Pourchaire, Liam Lawson, Gasly, Joe, Mayer, Verstappen, Ocon, Drugovich, Iwasa, Hughes, and Devon Butler rounds off the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. And with me today, of course, is Natalie Pinkham. Let's talk about Golden Boy. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances. But what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another good race today.
We're ready to roll then here from Paul Ricard. Now, we're going to be starting on softs. They wanted us to do like mediums, and I was just like, that makes no sense because look at that. The rain is on the way. How long? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's by getting this Grand Prix underway. Let's get ready to roll here for the French Grand Prix formation lap underway.
The formation lap gets underway then, and it's going to be interesting today to see how the dry conditions could affect the lifespan of the tyres.
A lot of mixed strategy here, several drivers on softs, many on mediums as well, but we also see a few drivers on hards, 3 drivers specifically, Sainz, Tsunoda, and my teammate Verstappen taking a grid penalty starting down in P15.
As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can, and they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, failing that, within the points.
Okay, just so you're aware, the softs on the car are a worn set.
Did we not have a fresh one left over from quali?
No, this is the best we could do.
Well, that throws a bit of a curveball at us, and I gotta say, this might be the hardest camera angle I've seen on a formation lap at any track in F123, and it happens to be a game that's not even, part of the calendar in F123 as we get ready to roll here for the French Grand Prix. Now as Devon Butler and the Connosport going to round out the back of the grid, we're ready to roll, but we're on a worn set of softs here. Got to keep that in mind as we get ready to roll. 5 red lights in front of us. It's Russell and Piastri. Lights out, we're underway. It's a great reaction from Russell. He's going to swing to the left, go 3 wide of the 2 Aston Martins. He's going to go and get 3 to 4 positions just about on the run down towards turn 1. We get nothing. And actually, Pourchaire gonna lunge one around my outside. I was pretty cautious there into turn 1 with these now worn soft tires, which I had no idea about when we were going into the race, to be honest. Asking immediately about the weather, and Mark says the weather is basically here already. I go really deep into the corner there, nearly into the side of the Frenchman in his home Grand Prix. Of course, several drivers here in home Grand Prix because we not only got Pourchaire, we go for a big slide, but we save it. But there's also the French team of Alpine and their 2 drivers of Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly, who we don't know, of course, what their future looks like so far going into next season. Norris passes us down the long straightaway now under pressure from one of the Frenchmen of Gasly, who sends it around my outside. Contact there, we save it again, and that was all on me. I locked up into the corner, went straight towards the apex while Gasly was trying to turn in. That was no fault of his own. We swing back to the right side now realizing the desperation situation we're already in. Trying to get past him, we complete the overtake on Gasly and are already just hoping that the rain falls as quickly as possible. With these worn soft tires on the car, we're not really going to be capable of doing much. Now, Charles Leclerc, he started on pole. He dropped down into 3rd place, and he would actually fight back here on lap 2 after Alex Albon would take the Grand Prix lead, but Leclerc gets Sainz for 2nd. Leclerc is on mediums while Sainz is on hards, and actually Carlos Sainz, the Spaniard, is going to keep this battle up. Piastri is right on the back of these 2 now. He's loving what he sees. Russell, Jackson just behind as well, and Sainz is going to pay the price here for trying to continue this fight because he's going to lose a spot to Leclerc, and he's also going to lose a spot to Oscar Piastri. So Piastri goes through, moves up into 3rd place as we continue to run in P10, trying to settle in and close in on Pourchaire. The rain already falling as we come to the closing moments of this 2nd lap, so immediately you see me getting the intermediate tire prepared, and and ready to go because I want to be the first one in because of course, how much I'm struggling on these softs. I couldn't do anything, and look at Pourchaire slipping and sliding around. Could he get points in his home Grand Prix? That would be a sight to see. Can anybody, get points in their home Grand Prix? Alpine and Gasly and Ocon as well. We go around the outside of Pourchaire with the DRS assistance, but on lap 4, the conditions would start to drop significantly here. You can see the track starting to go through that changeover position, so we know it's going to be time to pit. I let Mark know I'm boxing this lap, but look at the two Alfa Romeo Haas cars of Pourchaire and Lawson with the DRS. We're able to get past this. I lunge one up the inside of Lawson, realizing I need to, hang on as best I can because we're losing so much time to the cars ahead because of these worn softs. But we're gonna box right here. Several drivers now coming in, but several also around us staying on the racetrack. You can see it right there, but as well we have one of the Alpines, and you can see the Connor Sport cars coming in. My teammate of Verstappen's coming in as well, so we're going to do a double stack here with the Red Bull cars. Now it's going to be a little bit slower for Verstappen, but overall not that bad of a stop, and I think it will gain him time overall in the long run here because these conditions have changed into the intermediate weather, but a lot of cars are still out on track, so we're going to be gaining a decent chunk of time on this lap. That's Esteban Ocon just behind myself here now as we come through this first sector. Now, I was struggling immediately. Ocon was actually able to run me down on the DRS straight with DRS, by the way. DRS is not disabled yet. Ocon passes me for P17, which was quite frustrating to get overtaken at this exact moment, but we would fight back. I wasn't over yet. I'm realizing we just got to fight as hard as we can and make up for whatever we can. We lunge one up the inside, catch him off guard a little bit, and at the end of the lap, Ocon pits. Esteban Ocon pits to put on a dry tire. And that's when things were getting confusing because there was actually several cars pitting now for intermediates, but there's also several cars staying out on the dries. The rain is not going to improve, it's going to get worse, but as we started lap 7, Piastri's out on the softs, Jackson's on the soft tire, Russell's out there as well on the soft tire, Zhou, Drugovich as well, JQ's another one that's on the soft tire, Albon's the first one that's on intermediates, and still with DRS, by the way, blows the doors off of a doorless car into turn 1, and up into 5th place he goes, but very confusing to see them staying out so long, but they would finally give in and pit at the end of this lap. A yellow flag in the background. That was one of the Alfa Romeo Haas cars actually with a tire puncture, so they would have to limp it back around. I believe it was Liam Lawson, but we're going to come through to gain some ground, passing George Russell to the back of Jackson, then staying out, on those softs for so long really gave me an opportunity to gain some ground, and we're not out of this. The rain's going to get heavier. We still got a chance here today. Now his yellow flag's right behind us. It's actually Russell who's no longer in my mirror, and he's spun around, and he's right in the middle of the circuit, and this is going to bring out our first safety car of the day on board with Russell. The replay right there just missed everything and went around, and that's unfortunate there for him. So safety car is out. Everybody's going to re-rack it, but look at how much the rain was falling. This is going to force everybody's hand as it is absolutely chunking it down. Some cars stay out, but the majority are coming in for the wet compound tire, including my teammate of Verstappen who's right behind me, so he's going to be of course losing some time here with this double stack. So we're going to come in for the wet compound tire, and we're going to get held up as well because look at this, the two Ferraris are double stacking, so we have to wait for Leclerc. Leclerc is going to lose a bunch of time as well. I'm sure he's not thrilled. He just announced he's leaving the team, and here he is getting the short end of the stick on the pit strategy as well. So when everything would cycle out, because that one chunk of cars that stayed out also had to come back into the pits the next lap around, we would actually be P9, while Leclerc was 12th, Verstappen was 14th. So we're going to get back racing here from the 9th position, but now Lando Norris has benefited the most, and he's out in front as we get back racing here from France now, just shy of halfway in this Grand Prix, and it has been action-packed so far as we go down towards turn number 1. We're in absolutely pouring rain conditions, which we know is exactly what we need to get back into this race. We got the safety car we needed to make up all the time we lost. Now we got the rain. And I think we are a legitimate threat to win this race because when we know the heavier rain falls, I mean, we are almost unbeatable in this F123 game. It's crazy. To the back of Pierre Gasly at the end of the lap, up the inside, catch him off guard here into this final corner. We're going to pass him, outgrip him, drive away. P7, Ayumu Iwasa in the BMW car up next, and you can see right to the back of him here through Sector 1. Devin Butler right now running P5. He had the grid penalty. He had a poor start after the illegal blockade braking as well in qualifying. That set him back a little bit, only by 1 extra position. But here he is now benefiting well from the strategy, the conditions that have been changing, and the safety car all in one. We pass Iwasa there into the braking zone. He's going to fight back up the inside, making sure I give him the room that he deserves. But we get P6 nonetheless, and we would run down Devin Butler so quick. This Connor Sport was absolutely atrocious on this racing track. You got to wonder what the future for Connor Sport looks like now, and for both of their drivers of Devin Butler as well as Callie Mayer. And Callie Mayer, a rookie in Formula 1, has outperformed her brother, Devin Butler, for the majority of the season. I mean, that is pretty straightforward now as we continue to set our sights on the cars up ahead. So Butler holding up cars behind us. George Russell as well was having a mechanical issue at this point, so he was also a bit off the pace and holding up some cars. Passing can be quite difficult sometimes for AI in these conditions, but we were absolutely flying here now. Lando Norris still out in front, but you can see we have run down Albon in 4th, Sainz 3rd, Tsunoda 2nd, just up ahead. The fight is on, and if it wasn't raining today, this would never have happened. But you guys know it by now. In the rain, we just have this advantage. It's really weird how good we are compared to the AI in the rain, when in the last game, I was so bad compared to the AI in the rain. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Now as I go for a bit of a slide right there, we save it thankfully, but that opens the door for Albon to fight back down the long straightaway. But today is a prime opportunity to really punch our ticket or stamp our name on the championship fight, because if we can win this Grand Prix while Albon's down in 5th, Jackson's even further behind, we're going to be right in this championship fight if we win this Grand Prix. And I think we can, because I mean, look at just how much more grip we're able to get out of these corners right here, passing Carlos Sainz, and this moves us into a podium position. Next up, Yuki Tsunoda, only 2.5 seconds, or 3.5 seconds, sorry, up the road is Lando Norris, but the fight is now with Yuki Tsunoda. We'll look to the left side. How hard is he going to fight this? Well, we're going to dive deep down into the corner and just make it easy. We take the position up to 2nd place. Now 4 seconds to Norris, but our pace was so good in these pouring conditions that it really, I don't think, is going to take long at all to run down the Mercedes. And of course, it's going to be Norris that we have to fight, the driver that we got a little bit of a history with this season so far. But by the end of the lap, we had already cut the gap down to 3 seconds. So that's 1 second in a lap as we're going to go through the grid. The hunt is on for Lando Norris.
Norris in control, but for how much longer? Owen is on the charge here and gaining quick.
It's unreal the pace Owen is able to bring in the wet. He's had a lot of things go his way today, of course, with the safety car bringing him back into this fight.
Is it safe to say he is the new future of Red Bull racing? He has 4 wins on the season, while his teammate, a 4-time champion, now continues to find struggles.
At this moment, I would say yes. We see the focus on Devin Butler there. What a Grand Prix he has had, and a career day for him as he continues to fight for his career.
How about Gasly, guys? Trying to score points for the home team in also his home Grand Prix. There's a lot of questions, of course, about the future of everything at Alpine, but this is turning into a good day for them.
Not so good for George Russell, however. He's been struggling with a mechanical issue and continues outside of the points.
Piastri as well down in 14th as we see Gasly making a move for 8th. The battle's really starting to kick off here, Crofty.
And joining the party is Max Verstappen as these two battle it out.
He's got the run. Is he about to really try this?
3 wide into a corner. You can't even go 2 wide through. What a move from Verstappen, and it appears that it will work. Verstappen moves into 8th over Gasly and Iwasa.
What a through the grid here. Now as these battles continue, you see Dragovic going at it with Hughes, Mayer, Ocon, Pourchaire round up the back of the grid. Gasly is the only hope really for the Alpine team to get some points here today, but we have run down Lando Norris here on lap 19. The fight is on for the lead. We're going to look to the right side of Norris, but he's going to cover it off now. He's not going to make this easy now. He's hoping the rain lets up. The rain is letting up. You can see it has, and it's going to potentially get dry before this Grand Prix comes to an end now as we continue this fight here now. As we tuck in behind Norris, we're going to look up the right side. This is a corner you do not want to go side by side even in the dry conditions. And we back out of it thinking a little bit smart here as we continue on towards the end of this lap. Norris struggling there for grip. You can see him slide a little bit, nearly contact between myself and him, and a huge power slide for Norris. What a save. He keeps it going in the right direction. Now I go for a bit of a slide myself through the final few corners on this lap. Again, Norris with a big slide. That opens the door wide open for myself myself to go up the inside here in this final corner, and we're going to be wheel to wheel. Norris a little bit wide over the curbing. I'm able to get just a bit more grip than him, and that's going to allow me to finally take the lead of the French Grand Prix as he's going to fight back. Hold on, he tucked back in for some slipstream. We run him deep into the apex there, narrow into the apex or shallow, whatever you want to call it, and this is going to allow us to stay clear and now try to drive away from Norris and the rest of the pack, and that's exactly what we would start doing. Nearly 2 seconds a gap between myself and Norris on lap 21 through the end of sector 1, starting sector number 2, and now it's just hoping nothing goes wrong. We know the conditions are starting to improve. The rain's still falling a good bit though, but the gap would open up to about 3.5 seconds as we come towards the end of this 22nd lap, but you can see lap by lap just how much the weather is improving at this point, but the gap was still going up now, nearly 4.5 seconds at this point. So feeling very confident, to say the least, here about our chances. Asking about the weather, Mark says about 5 to 10 minutes now. Actually, yellow flag in sector 1, and that's our teammate Verstappen who's gone around, and this is going to bring out a safety car late in the Grand Prix. Verstappen loses it all on his own.
Sorry guys, I can't drive this piece of shit.
And you hear the Verstappen radio. The frustrations of his season continue now. The likelihood of him leaving Red Bull continues to increase. But he, of course, now has a win under his belt, at least this season, as we catch up to the safety cars. So we lead, and the conditions are drying pretty quickly. This is going to get really interesting. Verstappen catching up to the back of the grid there. He's dead last, of course, now. And we're going to get ready to roll here and get ready to go back racing. It's going to be 2 laps of racing. That's all it's going to be. And by the time we go racing, the rain has stopped. What is going to happen? You can see the track is drying quickly. When do we go? Basically, as soon as I exit the corner and just try to get away. We know we have way more grip than these other cars do on the exit of that final turn, so that's exactly where I time my move. We are already a full second ahead on the rundown into turn number 1 on Norris, but the question is, what kind of straight line speed does he have? We know fresh off of a safety car, the AI just have some infinite amount of battery, and it's only 2 laps, so let's see. Look at the gap now, 8 tenths down to 7 tenths into the braking zone, but look at the track drying extremely quickly. The spray no longer coming off the tires. In the background, a yellow flag. It's a Haas. It's Liam Lawson with a mechanical failure with 2 laps to go, but the track is virtually dry at this point now, and you can see myself struggling. It's going to be a 1-lap shootout, it's looking like, on a wet tire on a dry track. I don't think we've ever had that in my history of F1 gaming, to be honest with you, but the final lap underway here in the French Grand Prix. We open the gap back up to about a second on Norris on the run down towards turn number 1, just trying to get this thing to bite, get it to hook up, turn in on the apex, struggling a little bit through these first few corners. Norris gains 0.3 of a second in that first sector. We go a little bit wide over the curbing to start sector 2, and that brings the gap right down to only half a second. 4 tenths, 3.5 tenths now. We try to open it back up. No DRS, but look at the battery. And here comes Norris. He's going to bring the fight to the inside. We had a battle earlier, and now it's the final lap. A dry track, a wet tire. Who's going to come out on top of this epic battle here in the French Grand Prix? What a Grand Prix it has been as we continue this fight now to the back of Norris, and we actually tapped the back of him. I was trying to swing to the right, and I failed epically now as we get that slipstream overtake on, but the battery that he has is too much. We fight back here towards the bend, but Norris full sends it way braver than I was there as we have just 1 sector of racing to go. We need Norris to slide or something, but actually no, we don't. We close right up to the back of the British driver. Albon to 3rd signs, Tsunoda 4th and 5th as we dive deep into the corner. Norris with a power slide again. That makes it game on at this point, right to the back of Norris in the Mercedes as they try to win here finally. For the long time it's been since they've gone back to the top step of the podium, but here we go up the inside, a big lunge here on Norris. 1 corner remains and we're wheel to wheel. Who can get the traction? It's going to be wheel to wheel drag racing style down the front straightaway, but it's us. We're going to take it. We're going to win the French Grand Prix. Unbelievable.
Fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserve that race win. Well done, mate.
Oh my goodness, what a drive, what a day. Thank you guys so much. This championship battle is so on.
We've witnessed some great battles around Paul Ricard today, and they've taken a fantastic win. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
What an amazing race today. We all love to see an overtake as a Formula One fan, and we got those by the bucket load.
I thought it was over when Norris passed me, and I think if he didn't have that slide in the final sector, we probably, I guarantee we wouldn't have been close enough to send it up his inside into that final corner. But we had done that move a few times prior throughout the Grand Prix, and it had been successful 100% of the time. So I was like, you know what, we're close enough, let's go for it. Like I said, if he didn't have that slide a few corners before, that opportunity does not exist. But man, the French Grand Prix comes back to the calendar, and it delivers. What a race. I think that guarantees the French Grand Prix back on the calendar for Season 5. I don't see how it doesn't, of course, at this point. So, unbelievable. You got Newey up there on the podium celebrating with us. Unfortunately, Verstappen's back on his form of struggling. Didn't quite work out. And as well, Albon third, Jackson a little bit further down. This really does allow us to gain some points. Drugovich as well apparently had a DNF. I'm not sure where that came from, if it was on the final lap or something. But that's where I'm guessing. But look at this. 10 points back is Albon. We're only 23 back, and for sure Verstappen's written out. So it's a 3-driver fight, unless Verstappen goes on some kind of crazy tear. McLaren at the top of the board of constructors, 113 back for us, while Mercedes, Aston Martin, Ferrari are set to battle it out for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That does it for me. What a Grand Prix. I can't remember exactly where we go for the next episode, so we'll find out then. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.